Y'all miss hearing me talk, don't you? If you're as old as me, you probably watched the ABC after-school specials. Remember those? They would pop up at unexpected times to interrupt our afternoon viewing of syndicated sitcoms they were full of young stars acting out overdramatic cautionary tales for tweens and teens. Well, I hated those. I hated those because my life was basically a bunch of after-school specials. Oh yeah, I had it all. Illness, death, substance abuse, homosexuality. And growing up in a very, very small town meant that my window on the world was not based on experience, but it was based on World Book encyclopedias that were in my basement. They were my generation's Google. So I grew up in a small rural town in central Illinois, and it was about as boring and homogeneous as could be. Everyone, and I mean everyone in my community, was pretty much the same. We were all white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, boring. Catholicism was actually considered quite exotic. And lasagna, well, that was an ethnic food. Despite our obvious similarities that I had with everyone, I always felt different. I always felt odd. And like most kids in my town, I grew up feral. You know, we woke up, we ate breakfast, we went outside, we played, we had adventures. We would really only come in to eat and sleep. We often drank out of garden hoses and peed behind bushes and trees so that we didn't have to come in and interrupt our play. My friends and I shared everything. We shared snacks and comic books and secrets and really bad case of ringworm that we got from a feral cat that I found in the country and brought into town. We had to make our own adventures. We didn't have the video games and all the festive things y'all have on TV and internet. We had to make our own adventures. So one of mine involved the forbidden spider monkey. This was kept on a long leash in my grandparents' neighbor's backyard, and every single time we went to my grandparents' house, we were told not to bother the monkey, not to go near the monkey, and God forbid, do not touch the monkey. Needless to say, every single fiber of my being was drawn to that monkey. It really was the most interesting thing in my life up to that point. I often fantasized about that monkey, owning that monkey, dressing it up in little outfits, putting it on my shoulder in the bike basket and riding around town with it. I'm still thinking about that monkey. God, it was cute. Anyhoodle, I finally did touch that monkey. When my grandparents were inside their house, I took my sister's bike and I rode over and I got real close to the monkey. Well, that monkey was mean. It just jumped out and it snatched the plastic flower off my sister's bike. So thinking quickly, like I do, I grabbed hold of that monkey and I yanked that flower right out of its mouth. That monkey grabbed me and it bit me. right on the middle finger. I can still see the scar. That little adventure really cost me. It cost me a smack on the ass and a trip to the doctor's office for a tetanus shot. Stupid ass monkey. Okay, so to set the stage, I was a tomboy. That's what we were called. But not only was I a tomboy, but I was an unusually small, anxious, and sickly child, no doubt due to the near-fatal bout of measles I had as a toddler. And while all of my siblings grew to 6 feet tall, by high school I was only 5'3" and had delayed puberty. That made me seem even weirder. They tried to treat me for my runtiness by things like daily iron medicine, which was so strong that I swear to God I can still taste it sometimes. My doctor told my parents an interesting little way to help me gain weight. They told them to give me a small glass of wine before dinner. Now, the point of the half a juice glass full of wine was supposed to stimulate my appetite and help me gain weight. Yes. While I don't remember if that actually helped me gain weight or eat more, I do absolutely remember the calm feeling that it gave me. I was still in grade school. One transformative memory that stays with me is the time that my parents inexplicably took me to see Cabaret at the Clintonia Theater. I was 7 years old. Apparently they couldn't get a babysitter because that show dealt with some pretty adult themes, and they went right over my head. But I still remember it like it was yesterday. As the lights went down, I sat between my parents, taking it all in. The smell of the popcorn, the cardboard, the seats, the cigarette smoke, and the red velvet seats that I couldn't stop touching. And then the screen flickered to life. And there she was. My first crush, Liza Minnelli. I told you I was a weird kid. After the movie, I could not stop talking about Liza. How pretty she was, what a great singer she was, what a great dancer she was, how I just wanted to go back and see that movie again. In fact, I talked about it so much that my mom finally sat me down for a little talk. She explained that while she was glad that I liked Liza Minnelli and the movie, I was not going back to see it again. And in fact, she thought it probably was a good idea that I started talking about other things. And while I wasn't exactly in trouble, I did get the sense that this fixation was somehow unacceptable. When I was only 6 years old, my mom had to go to the hospital. It was obvious to me that something serious was happening, but I didn't know what. When she finally returned from the hospital, she had a huge bandage across her chest. And while she assured me that it didn't hurt and that she was okay, I could get the sense that that wasn't true. Later, I saw that the bandage had actually covered where her left breast had been, and that it covered a horrific scar that went all the way across her chest, under her arm, and clear to her back. After that, there were about 5 years of hushed conversations, endless trips to doctors' offices, and to the clinic for radiation treatments, and many, many more hospitalizations. During this time, my mom would sit me down to share life lessons. One that I really remember, because I was super excited about it, was the period talk. Before she started the period talk, she sent me to the bathroom to collect a box of maxi pads. Woohoo! I had been banned from those maxi pads and anywhere near that cabinet in the bathroom, all because I used a couple of them to make saddles for the cats. Whatever. There were a lot of them in that box, that's all I'm going to say. Anyway, remember when I said I was a late bloomer? By the time I actually started puberty, maxi pads had changed a lot. They had evolved and sprouted wings. So when I was in 6th grade, just 6 days after my mom's 40th birthday, my sister and I were called to the principal's office, where one of my aunts awaited. She didn't tell us what was wrong, but I knew. When I arrived home, my father sat us down, confirmed my worst fears, and my childhood imploded. So to reiterate, at the point I lost my mother, I was age 11, in 6th grade. I was a small, sickly, flat-chested tomboy who was fighting anxiety, depression, developing alcoholism, and had homosexual tendencies. And did I mention that my really small school had no social workers or counselors? But fast forward. That crush on Liza Minnelli never really went away. And I was starting to think that maybe I actually had caught the gay. Later, when I was 17, I would sneak down to the library at Millikan University and secretly read up on homosexuality to see if that's actually what I had. But I was assured by my reading that this could actually be a normal phase of adolescence, and I would outgrow it. Spoiler alert, I didn't. So at about the time, I also discovered that when I had trouble sleeping due to my anxiety, that alcohol could actually help with that. It could help me feel better. It was like wrapping myself in a warm blanket. I would seek it out in any form I could find it. An open bottle of wine, Vicks 44 cough syrup, NyQuil. That warm feeling was really comforting. Later, predictably, that feeling of comfort would turn into the nightmare of addiction. But on December 1st, 1991, I took my last drink of alcohol as I entered Carl's new choice, Center for Alcoholism. Calm down, I still use all the other drugs. No, I don't. I'm kidding. Am I? No. A little bit. My after-school life, like all of those on TV, did have a pretty happy ending. I'm not going to pretend that there haven't been rough times, many struggles, many setbacks as I navigated my way towards adulthood. There still are. There will be many more. But tonight, I stand before you as a sober, out and proud lesbian, mother of 3 smart, caring, beautiful children that I am so proud of, and a professional with a job that I absolutely love. Who am I kidding? I loved it. When the credits finally roll on my story, there will be a long list of people who were responsible for how it turned out. Family, friends, colleagues, teachers, professors, and others who were just supportive and let me know it was okay if I was weird. These were not professional counselors. These were just caring adults. They just let me know that no matter how awkward or weird or alone I felt, it was okay. So as we go through our daily lives, we may not all know what ABC school, after school specials, others are currently living through or who have lived through. We do, all of us, however, have the power to be the one that can help them find their happy ending.